there. Today I want to talk to you about my experiences as an elementary school teacher and what I feel like does not work and what does work. And what I'm going to be coming from my background. Remember, I taught kindergarten for 4 years. I taught 5th grade for 2 years, 3rd grade for 2 years. I taught 2nd grade for a year, and I've had some substituting jobs in between. So what I'm going to tell you about what does not work is more work for these gifted learners. Okay? Teachers, as teachers, might know that as busy work. That does not do much for the gifted learner. Okay? Especially because a lot of times when you're giving more work, it's at the same level that you have already given the rest of the class, which was not challenging in the first place. So doing more of it is not really going in depth to what the student really needs as far as satisfying that hunger for knowledge. Okay? So more work or busy work. And also at this point, what does not work, okay, is student tutoring. Okay? And I'm going to tell you this, it's been successful, but what I'm talking about here is what does not work for the gifted learner. Now, the underachieving learner might get something out of it. Unfortunately, to be a student tutor or what I called a student teacher in my classroom, a lot of times these gifted learners don't understand or know how to explain how they got the answer. Okay, and that's because a lot of us as educators or parents haven't really focused on that. We're just so happy that they're smart and things come easy. We just let it be. Instead of really being able to let them expand and explain, even if it doesn't make sense to us, it's really important to be able to explain it. So that doesn't work. If that student finishes early, this gifted student finishes early, to have them help somebody else, unfortunately, it's a fallback kind of situation that some of us teachers, and I have been guilty of doing the same, is not beneficial for that learner. Okay? What does work is using choice. And this works actually for all students and being able to give them a choice of what they'd like to learn about. Now, that's not feasible in a situation where most of us are adopting Common Core state standards, but if you have a general idea that you've got to teach certain aspects of the solar system, now if the gifted student is learning at an accelerated pace and pretty much knows all the basic information that you have given, that student would most likely benefit from choosing a planet and being able to do in-depth research. And that kind of takes me to interest. Okay? And this, again, works for not just gifted learners, all learners, but especially gifted learners, because a lot of times they've already learned about so many things, or they've looked it up, or they've researched themselves, and to give them that okay, that's okay. You want to learn about something? Let's rework it into the Common Core, my curriculum as a teacher that I have to teach, and let's get you something that gets you excited, that practices your skills, that helps you work on really being able to explain and get deeper into the material that you're very good at. Okay, so this, in my opinion, is what does not work, okay, and what does work. All of these are actually big components of differentiation, which, as I said, is my expertise. And I have been considered to be a successful teacher in implementing all of these things in my classroom. Now, this accelerated component, that doesn't mean that you have to come up with a whole other curriculum because you've got a few smarty pantses who already know what you're teaching. If you're really familiar with this, you know a huge help is to give a pre and post test to see what the students know before you start and then what they know afterwards. This pre-test is huge for those gifted learners. You will often find that they know most of what you're about to cover, even in a 4 to 6 week time span. So what you need to do is you can have this information, and that should really be all you need as far as proof of why you're letting them choose something of interest to them that has to do with the standards, because they've actually already mastered the grade level unit that you're about to start. And that's been extremely successful. This also, watching gifted students do these things, oftentimes motivate that average or maybe that kid that's about to become above average, because that's just a intrinsic motivator. It's not candy. It's them being able to choose something that they care about and be able to do it in school. A lot of times we see that as two separate things, and we need to start putting that more together. So that's kind of a few different tidbits for my educators out there that I've learned over the past 10 years.